One community, and there's so many, but one in particular that we've been focusing on is Paducah, Kentucky. For multiple reasons, it's the same story for so many spots across the map, the combination of severe weather and flooding. Look at that 18-wheeler. Completely turned over because of strong winds last night in Kentucky. So we have folks that are waking up to damage. Our own Fox weather correspondent Robert Ray is live in Paducah this morning. Robert, of course, the Weather Service, they are the ones that will do the survey to find out what caused the damage behind you. But at this point, honestly, it doesn't matter. We have a community that's been rocked.
Yeah, we do. And yeah, you look at this church here that is in shambles as Dean maybe pulls out on his camera and trains, and you look at the roof is collapsed. The interior of this church is obviously completely destroyed. And I think this is more than straight line winds. I think National Weather Service will find that this is indeed a tornado that came down here in West Paducah, right near the airport. And we'll get to Paducah in a second, more of what happened last night. But I want you to see this video yet again from Northwest Arkansas in Lake City. Unbelievable. Anybody that was watching it last night live as Brandon Kopic, our exclusive storm tracker, was chasing this tornado and trying to get out of the path of this tornado, probably their mouths went to the ground. That's what I did. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing as this twister moved across the land, just raking everything in its sight. Agricultural land, it's very rural in that particular part of Northwest Arkansas, and ruining structures and creating a lot of injuries, unfortunately. And speaking of injuries and death, right now we can confirm 2 deaths in the state of Tennessee, and we hope that that number does not go up in the surrounding states. As I still stand here under the cover of darkness as the rain is falling. Now in Paducah, yesterday evening, what we went through, and everyone here, 25,000 plus residents, is tornado sirens blaring across this town, a beautiful town on the Ohio River, the convergence of the Tennessee and Ohio River. And that went on for hours as we were under tornado warnings, and the winds that came through, and the rain and the lightning. When you looked up in the sky, it was like an atmospheric strobe light for absolute hours. Could not just comprehend how much lightning was going through the area. And the roar of the winds when they came through with the sideways rain, just something that will never leave one's ears, heads, or memory if they experienced it last night. And so many people from Indianapolis to Nashville to Memphis heard those tornado warning sirens. Very scary situation. Now, flash flood watches and warnings up for the entire weekend, and we could see historic flooding with upwards to 15 inches in some areas. And I know Paducah is very concerned about that with all the streams and creeks in this area. Britta, Stephen?
Yeah, and Robert, Paducah, the National Weather Service office, they're not messing around with the words that they've been using leading up to this event. In fact, they talked about the historic nature of the flooding before we saw that severe weather. With the damage behind you, I know the sun's not up yet, but getting to that church, was there more damage that you saw, or does it seem to be isolated just to that structure, if assuming there are other things around that church?
It is isolated to this particular area near the airport here in West Paducah. The roadway going into the airport and to getting to this church was littered with debris. But as far as actual Paducah goes, and where we stayed last night, which is right on the interstate at the edge of West Paducah, we did not see any visible damage. That doesn't mean it's not there, because when we left at about 2:30 a.m. Central this morning, after basically monitoring this all night, it was a hardcore rain and very tough to get around. So I would not be surprised if we see a lot of electrical lines and trees down in other areas. I know that is the case in Gage, Kentucky, which is just to the west of where we're at. That is for sure. We heard that on the police and fire scanners last night as we were monitoring that. And we also heard the fact that there were injuries, including a child, and I just pray that that child is okay today. Certainly, it was not easy listening on those scanners last night.
And
Back to
especially,
you.
as you know, Robert, when we talk about these nocturnal events, and they did produce tornadoes last night, they are often the most deadly. And of course, the news that you had brought us this morning with now 2 dead in Tennessee, it's terrifying. But also, we have a long road ahead of us, and more severe weather to get through. Robert Ray for us here this morning in Paducah, Kentucky. Robert, thank you.